Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Belly Up Sports Super Show, the Call of Duty League World Championship Edition. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is our very first Super Show here on Belly Up Sports, covering Call of Duty League Esports. And it is that time of the year to crown a brand new Call of Duty League champion. From the inaugural season back in 2019, we have seen historic events and some disasters, aka COVID, that ruined a lot of the league tournaments. But hey, at least we still get it right now. These top 8 teams, ladies and gentlemen, has been through pretty much thick and thin throughout the season, and they finally have made it, and they're here to prove their worthiness of becoming Call of Duty League world champions. So here in the show or broadcast, if you want to say, we're going to do a best of 5, just like the series would be if we're playing the Call of Duty League right here. So for round 1 right here, we got the season recap of how these 8 teams got to where they are at today. We're going to start from round 8, or excuse me, rank 8, which would be the Boston Breach, all the way to rank 1, which would be the Los Angeles Thieves. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about the Boston Breach. So the Boston Breach, ladies and gentlemen, they've come into this season right here, not really expected to win, actually. And you could, by the way, you can see on the stats right here on my right hand side of the screen, they've placed about middle of the pack. Their worst tournament definitely was the Major 1 and the Minor 2 tournament. But other than that, it's been 5th and 9th place overall, but it's just enough to get them in at that number 8 spot for the World Championship. So can they turn things around and win their series later on in this week? We'll definitely find out, but definitely Cammy, Awakening, Purge, and Snoopy, definitely congratulations on getting here. I know the season's been rough, but hey, you've made it, and let's see where things can go. Now, that being said, we're going into OpTic Texas. Now, OpTic Texas has been a wild card this season with Pred being released, coming back onto the main roster, then having Hook being replaced and coming back to the main roster. So their best tournament was the Minor 1 tournament, and that's with Dashy, Kenny, Shotzi, and Hook. And really, Pred was just out of the picture by then. But their worst placing was pretty much the Major 1 and Major 2 and Major 3. Definitely towards that end of the season, things weren't really looking up to them. They was losing to teams like the Miami Heretics or a Boston Breach. Heck, even the Los Angeles Guerrillas M8, which is statistically one of the worst teams outside of the Vegas Falcons. So it's beyond me of how this team got here. But hey, congratulations to OpTic and Dashu, Hook, Mercules, and Shotzi. So now we're going to move on over to the Carolina Royal Ravens. So this is a team that really started off hot in the Minor 1 tournament, placing second, which they ultimately lost to Atlanta FaZe. Then went on a downward spiral, 4th at the Major 1, finished 3rd at the Minor 2 tournament, and then just disappeared off the map. Still enough to kind of place mid-ranking, and it was enough to at least get them into that 7th place spot, or excuse me, 6th place spot. And hey, this team has shown its worthiness throughout the season, and it was enough to get them a spot in COD Champ. So definitely congratulations to Gwen, Slasher, TJ, and Rex. So now we're going to move on over to the Miami Heretics. So Heretics has had a phenomenal season. Yes, they're still kind of mid-tier package right in here, but Metals, Real, Rencor, and Super, definitely this is a team that should go into the Black Ops 7 season and really just wreak some havoc, improve some things. But hey, with the Major 1 tournament, placing 3rd, placing 3rd at the Major 4, and 4th at the Major 3, But then really your minor one, major two, or excuse me, minor two and major two was kind of your downfalls. The team didn't really know what was going on at that time. But hey, you bounced back, got into a very good spot right here. And so definitely huge congrats to the Miami Heretics, because definitely competing against teams like OpTic Texas is no joke. So now the Vancouver Surge. So this is their very first season in Vancouver, switching on over from Seattle from last season. So 04, Abusa, Nasty, and Neptune. Definitely this is a good just combination of players. I really like how Neptune has stepped up in his role this season and became a figure for this Surge organization to really rely on and make those clutch plays. So for the Vancouver Surge right here, definitely mid-season after the minor two tournament, placing second in pretty much every event outside, of course, the major four. Hey, you're doing something right, and competing up against Atlanta FaZe, which Atlanta FaZe loses to Vancouver Surge a lot, or just Surge in general. So this could be a kryptonite for Atlanta FaZe later on in the World Championship tournament bracket. So definitely congratulations to Vancouver. Toronto Ultra, the hometown favorites to win the World Championship. So, man, I'm telling you, the minor one and major one, everybody was expecting a little bit more of them. Didn't really place too well, fifth overall. Hey, but still, it's good placement, some good money for these players. And of course, the major four kind of fell off a little bit, but minor two all the way to major three, definitely he was killing it, placing third at those events. Definitely figured things out and kept their CDO points up high just enough to get into that third spot. So now moving on over, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Atlanta FaZe. Yes, the Atlanta FaZe, what you want to call it, the Tom Brady and the New England Patriots of the 2010s and so on. All right, so let's break this down. So Atlanta FaZe was on a absolute roll with LAN events, host winning 4 in a row LAN events all the way up into the major three, which they placed fifth. So that was kind of odd right there. But then ultimately placed second at the major four. So kind of made up for that major three fifth place loss. But other than that, first place at the LAN events, which that ultimately does matter. The minors was practically just a online tournament for an extra amount of cash. But still, fifth place was kind of odd. But I was like, you know what? No, FaZe is going to bounce back and they're going to win that major two tournament. And I was right. So I was happy to see that right there. So now let's talk about their arch nemesis, the Los Angeles Thieves. Envoy, Ghosty, Hydra, and Scrap. So this right here, if I would have to put it into words, this is Nate Shot buying his way to a world championship. If I really want to say it that way, sorry, Nate Shot. I hate to say it like that, but hey, you built the dream team, really have. I've watched Ghosty since his Minnesota Rocker days, and he's been an absolute just unit of a player. Of course, Scrap, he's the trash talker of the team. Hydra, he's coming off from New York Subliners, and he's probably one of the highest scouted talents there is in the Call of Duty League. So let's talk about their placings. The minor one, fifth place, major two, lost to Atlanta FaZe, ended up second place right there. But then won the minor two tournament, turns around and loses the major two tournament, place of fourth, and then goes on an absolute tear during the major three and major four tournaments, placing first place over Atlanta FaZe in all those events right there. So really your major event winners is Atlanta FaZe with 2 and LA Thieves with 2. So that's going to be the ultimate deciding factor of really who's going to win the world championship this coming weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm honestly excited to see what's going to unfold because this has been some drama between the Los Angeles Thieves and Atlanta FaZe. Atlanta FaZe has held that number one CDL point standing for ever since the inaugural season. LA Thieves comes in and knocks that door down, takes their crown, and of course there's just a lot of bad blood between these two teams, especially with the trash talkers and Scrap and Draza. So with that being said, I want to talk more specifically now in round two with the game modes and the strength and weaknesses of each and every single team with the top five right here. So for hardpoint, ladies and gentlemen, hardpoint is the game mode where you want to capture hills. There's believe 5 or 6 hills that you want to capture, and you got to have at least 250 points or until time runs out. And during that time right there, it is a back and forth battle. And let me tell you, it is just non-stop action right there, ladies and gentlemen. And for the teams that really are doing pretty well in hardpoint, that would be the Los Angeles Thieves coming at number one, Atlanta FaZe at number two, Vancouver Surge at three, Toronto Ultra at number four, and at number five is the Miami Heretics. Now, for the rest of the teams right here, OpTic Texas is at six, Boston Breach at seven, and Carolina Royal Ravens at number eight. So, Boston and Carolina, when it comes to hardpoint, they struggle. They really do. Their KDs are super low compared to the LA Thieves and Atlanta FaZe. Now, with the Atlanta FaZe, I've said this numerous times. If you have listened to my show before here on MorganMan Sports, that Atlanta FaZe needs to be more aggressive when it comes to rotation and capturing the hills. And they done so during the first half of the season, but then last half kind of slacked off. Definitely need to improve that going into COD champs right here. But LA Thieves took that number one spot from Atlanta FaZe just like they did in CDL points. So now going into Search and Destroy, ladies and gentlemen. Search and Destroy, where you got Bomb A and Bomb B. And each team has a offensive and defensive round. Now, Atlanta FaZe does strive in this one right here, but LA Thieves, again, this is the dream team. So Thieves sitting at number one, FaZe second, Vancouver Surge. I'm actually proud of their performance in Search and Destroy this season, moving up to the third best team to compete with. Toronto Ultra sitting at fourth, Miami Heretics at number five. Minnesota Rocker definitely is out of the tournament for sure, but they are the sixth best team. OpTic Texas sitting at seven, Ravens at number eight, and Boston Breach at number nine. So definitely big strength goes to Atlanta FaZe and the Los Angeles Thieves, while the weaknesses are definitely going in favor of Carolina and the Boston Breach. Definitely, again, Boston Breach was not predicted to even make COD champs this year, but they snuck their way in. But I just feel like it's going to be an early exit, no doubt. So now let's talk about the last game mode, and that is Control, ladies and gentlemen. Now, again, LA Thieves, number one, Atlanta FaZe, number two. So you're going to see a lot of the storylines in favor of LA Thieves in Atlanta this season. But with number three, Toronto, definitely, I like that ranking right there for them. That does feel right, especially when they face off against the Atlanta FaZe in previous majors. Number four is Vancouver Surge. Five, Ravens. Six is OpTic Texas. Seventh, Minnesota Rocker out of the tournament. Miami Heretics is number eight. Cloud9 New York definitely is out of the tournament, but they sit at number nine. And for the 10th overall spot is the Boston Breach. So Boston, I hate to say it, guys, I really do, but you have not had really a good statistical season. And again, just still congratulations for making it here. But so I'm really proud for this team right here. But again, the major storyline is going to be LA Thieves in Atlanta moving forward in this tournament right here. But Toronto could pull off an upset and really improve their strategies and game modes. So now we're going to move on into round number 3, ladies and gentlemen. This is our what we're going to call the controlled segment, and that is the matchups that we're going to break down now for you. Starting with game 1, we're going to talk about the Vancouver Surge versus the Miami Heretics. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my CDL pick'ems right here for you guys to see. And I have the Miami Heretics at a 3-2 advantage over the Vancouver Surge. Now, for my X Factor player for each of these teams right here, for Vancouver, I'm having it to be nasty. And for Miami, it's definitely got to be real. Whenever I talk about these teams, those are the two players I picture going into this series right here. Nasty definitely has some clutch moments, but I feel like real is more that defensive player that will sit not in the back of the map, but more in that environment. All right, if I stay here for just a few more seconds longer, I could counter react to this offensive round for hard point, search and destroy, whatever the case may be. So those are my X Factor players for each of these teams right here, if they have a chance of succeeding this Thursday. So now game 2, ladies and gentlemen, will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and that will be the Los Angeles Thieves versus the Boston Breach. So I do have the Boston Breach losing to the Los Angeles Thieves 3-1. And my X Factor players for each of these teams for Boston will be Awakening, and Los Angeles will be Scrap. So why did I pick Scrap for this being the X Factor player for Los Angeles? Well, it's quite simple. He's a trash talker, and Scrap loves getting into the opponent's head and really messing with them and getting them derailed from their momentum moving forward in the rest of the series. So if Scrap can really pursue that and really get into Boston's head, this is going to be an easy series. Like, there's no doubt about it. But if Boston Breach somehow comes back and quiets that trash talking, this could flip the other way. But statistically, I'm moving forward with the Los Angeles Thieves in the 3-1 series. Next up on the list is at 6 p.m. Eastern, Toronto Ultra taking on the Carolina Royal Ravens. So for the X Factor player, I have for Toronto Kleenex, and for Ravens, I have Slasher. Definitely Slasher. He is one of the veterans that are still left from the old school Call of Duty esports days, like MLG Anaheim or, whatever that is. He knows what is at stake for this team. So he's going to be the X Factor player, and he's definitely going to have to step up in a big role. Now, for Toronto, I have Kleenex. Kleenex has been here pretty much since the inaugural season with Toronto, or maybe a season after that. But he's been on the team for a very long time. And I'm looking forward to him being this X Factor player to really build his team up and really get them hyped to win their series, which, like I said, I do have them winning 3-1 over the Royal Ravens. Now, for everybody's favorite matchup, that is the Atlanta FaZe taking on OpTic Texas. This has been now one of the rivalries that has went on for so long in the esports history books. FaZe versus OpTic, whether it comes from Halo tournaments, CSGO, Call of Duty, you name it, FaZe versus OpTic is going to be at the top of the category. So, with that being said, my X Factor players for Atlanta FaZe is going to be the duo of Beezy and Simp. Now, for OpTic, it's definitely going to be Hook. Now, why did I choose Hook? Well, Hook is definitely that player that was a missing piece, a missing 1v1 kind of guy that would hop on the objective no matter what for OpTic. And that's what ultimately led them to securing a spot in COD Champs, was bringing Hook back in rotation after getting rid of Pred to release him to the Vegas Falcons earlier in the season. So now for Atlanta FaZe, yes, you got the CEO, which that's the code term for you own that team, like Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears, for example. Like we call Draza the CEO of OpTic in the esports world. And you got Celium. Celium does Celium things, putting up high stats. But who I'm really looking at, not only just for this series right here, but for the entire tournament, and this is ultimately what's going to decide if FaZe will win COD Champs this year. And that's a BZ and Simp being on point moving forward. So when these two are clicking and everything is going just right for them, this series will be a 3-0, which that's actually what I'm predicting right now, is a 3-0 up against OpTic Texas in favor of Atlanta. But throughout the rest of the tournament, Simp and Abizi has definitely got to stay on point and just really click with one another. And if they do, this is going to be an easy cake walk for Atlanta FaZe to win COD Champs this year. So those are my winners round one. So now let's go into the rest of the tournament predictions right here, ladies and gentlemen. So right now on my screen, you always will see in winners round two, Los Angeles Thieves versus Miami Heretics. Now, Miami Heretics has definitely won against the Los Angeles Thieves a time or two this season, but that was earlier, like in the first half of the season. And I don't know. LA has just got that it factor right now. And I'm actually going to predict them to win in a 3-2 over Heretics. Heretics is going to go up 2-0, but then Thieves is going to bounce back and do a reverse sweep in the 3-2 series. That will put them in the winners finals. For winners round two, Atlanta FaZe versus the Toronto Ultra. Now, again, this is the hometown favorites, Toronto Ultra. So there's a lot of pressure on them to win this tournament, especially going up against the kings of Atlanta FaZe and the Los Angeles Thieves. But at the end of the day, this is a Treyarch title. I'm going 3-2 in favor of Atlanta. And so your winners final will be Thieves and FaZe. But let's go ahead and get the elimination rounds taken care of before we go into that. So for elimination round one, ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Breach versus Vancouver Surge. Definitely, it's going to be Surge and a 3-1. Statistically, Boston Breach is just not. I feel like they just flunked their way in here and just barely snuck into COD Champ. So that will be the end of the Boston Breach's season. Congratulations for making it, but we will see you next year in the Call of Duty League 2026 season. For elimination round one, OpTic Texas versus the Royal Ravens. So this will determine who faces the Miami Heretics. So, okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and sit here and say that the Royal Ravens are going to win over OpTic Texas. I know it's so hard for me to say this, but I just like how Slasher and the rest of this team is just on point throughout the rest of the season. But now OpTic is going to put up a fight. They're going to go into a 3-2 series. But still, I just don't think it's going to be enough to really push forward, even with Hook this late in the season. Chalk the season and go into next year refreshed and hopefully dominate the season. Now, for elimination round two, you got the Toronto Ultra versus the Vancouver Surge. Obviously, this is the battle of the Canadian teams. Obviously, Ultra is my pick. In the 3-2, there's a lot of 3-2s. And that's one thing in the Call of Duty League that you got to expect. There is going to be a lot of 3-2s because these teams are competing at high levels. There's no gimmick matchup. Let's just say, for like example, in challengers, there's like a C9 challengers team versus Atlanta FaZe. Atlanta FaZe is going to 3-0 that team within a matter of like 20 minutes, despite like commercial breaks or whatever. But they're going to eliminate that team just snap of the finger. But no, these are professional players going up against other professional players, not amateurs. Like, they're facing off against their talent. So it's going to be a 3-2 near about every single series, except if you're just that good on point right now. So the final elimination round 2 is the Miami Heretics and the Royal Ravens, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I like Heretics. I really do. I'm going to go for them in this one. And 3-2 as well in the Raven series for them. So that will eliminate the Royal Ravens. So now let's talk about the winners final, ladies and gentlemen. The winners final, LA Thieves versus the Atlanta FaZe. You're going to go 3-2 at Los Angeles Thieves. So you're going to the grand finals, LA Thieves. So congratulations on Championship Sunday. Definitely, this is what Nadeshot paid for. So FaZe will be dropping down to the elimination finals. So for elimination round 3, whoever wins this will face off against the Atlanta FaZe. I do have the Toronto Ultra winning, and for some reason, just the crowd is going to be this X factor for Toronto. Now, I know they got the noise canceling headphones and just everything else like that, but I just think this crowd is going to be too much for the Heretics. And I think they're only going to win one series. That might be like a search and destroy or a control series. But other than that, Toronto Ultra has definitely got it this year. So now you are in the elimination final, and Los Angeles Thieves is waiting to see who they're going to face. Atlanta FaZe, you have made it this far. Why quit now? Why ease off the gas? Toronto Ultra, you got a lot of momentum going. You just beat the Miami Heretics 3-1. But at the end of the day, I still hate to say it. Like, not like still hate to say it, but I'm like rephrasing myself every so often. This is a Treyarch title. And this is Atlanta FaZe's blood and just soul, sweat and tears put into this title. And Atlanta FaZe is going to prevail over the Toronto Ultra and make it to Championship Sunday in a best of 9 against the Los Angeles Thieves. Which, me personally, guys, I think Atlanta FaZe has figured out the Los Angeles Thieves. I really think they do. So this is how I predict things going to go. So it's a best of 9. So whoever gets to 5 first wins COD champs this year. LA Thieves is going to go up 3-0. FaZe is worried. They're going to tie it right here. And then something just strikes Atlanta FaZe's nerves, and they say, "No, we're not going to a round 8, whatever. No, we're going to dominate this series, and we're going to win it in fashion." And I think the Atlanta FaZe wins 5-3 over the Los Angeles Thieves. Again, Treyarch title. They know this to the best of their abilities, and from the Black Ops Cold War season all the way to now. And Atlanta FaZe prevails, wins COD champs after having a mediocre kind of second half of the Call of Duty League regular season, ladies and gentlemen. So that is who I am picking for this right here. Like, I love it. I really do. And it's just going to be one of those moments for Atlanta FaZe to really capture their second world championship and the organization. And it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a 3-ring for Abizi and Simp, second for Celium and Draza. And of course, like I said, the runner-up, in my opinion, is going to be the Los Angeles Thieves, and behind them will be Toronto Ultra and Miami Heretics also back. So definitely this is going to be a wild season, or excuse me, COD Champs weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm super excited about it. So let's actually go into round 4 now to kind of cool things down. I know I was kind of teasing a little bit of some predictable matchups right there, but now let's go into some rankings, blind rankings for the top plays of the Call of Duty League season that has prevailed from us from the very start until now.
Crazy happening. Still gonna win the gunfights. Gonna be down to Cammy. Him versus the world. Capture the fight. Cammy. Oh my. What is this round? Cammy. Stone's not gonna connect. 1v1. Holy Cammy. Are we witnessing the most unbelievable round of control of all? Writing is on the green wall once again. The shots are there. Exited. It is just feeling like an impossible situation for OpTic. The first
spiral steps. Let's see if they can hold on.
As the he's going for it as well. 2Real goes for this one. It's going to be a trade. It will. Eric Boomgood on the other side of the map. He managed to find a soul as well. That's going to be it. It ends like this. Unbelievable. Slapping in the S&Ds. Notorious are your Miami Open champions. Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at that find! Dronza again! Dronza! 3! The ace not, but his teammates there for the trade. FaZe is tournament point. It's an execution. They're taking over the A-bomb. It's an immediate jump. And his brains not broad. They get FaZe the win!
Get the final set of trades and you are good to go. Awakening sets you up. Purge knocks him down. There's the final 3. Nice little cleanup moment because Purge is giving you a little bit extra.
Hey, but this is a joke. Like, one by one, even when they don't, he's still smoking.
He's invisible.
Brother! Purge is playing campaign. It's unbelievable. Streak's good. Oh, 10. They're running into his lethal irons. No way.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely. I remember a lot of these exact moments. The Atlanta FaZe and LA Thieves Search and Destroy round 4 and 5 right in there. That definitely is my number one favorite because that right there was like, in my opinion, what solidified FaZe to be better than the Los Angeles Thieves, despite Thieves winning 2 majors in a row. Despite all that, I feel like FaZe is still the better team, and that point right there was pivotal for Atlanta FaZe to solidify themselves as like, hey, I am better than you, and this is why I proved that. So I definitely like that. The Boston Breach segment right in there, that the verse at the beginning, definitely that right there was really good. That is actually near about impossible, even at the pro level, to really do a team wipe like that and to really capture that moment. That was spectacular. And number 3, definitely, I like the Vegas Falcons winning over OpTic Texas. That team deserved that win. And to go forward and beating OpTic of all teams, you're doing something right. Now, towards the end of that season for the Call of Duty League and the Vegas Falcons, they had a lot of work to do, but they proved themselves to at least win some series. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the Black Ops 7 season moving forward. So speaking of Black Ops 7, ladies and gentlemen, we're now into round 5, and that is the giveaway. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a giveaway for the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 that will be releasing later this year. And guys, let me tell you, I'm super excited about Black Ops 7. Definitely some new Omni movement that will be happening. Futuristic setting, boots on the ground still. It is super exciting, and it's another Treyarch title. So that's my early predictions already for next season is Atlanta FaZe winning that one. But Still, though, Black Ops 7 is highly anticipated this year, and we at Belly Up Sports and MorganMan Sports are proud to be announcing a giveaway for the Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Now, how to enter, of course, as you know, was commenting on the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everything like that. And definitely, you're putting your name in for the hat right there, and you will be announced on my show this Friday after Winners Round 1 of who will be presented with the copy of Call of Duty Black Ops 7 on your preferred console. So definitely comment right now, ladies and gentlemen, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are watching this from, definitely be commenting because you will be selected for a chance to win Call of Duty Black Ops 7 for later this year. So, guys, that is the end of it right there. Definitely, we're ready to crown a new champion for this Call of Duty season. I'm super excited for it. I'm ready for the drama to unfold between Scrap and Draza from the LA Thieves and Atlanta FaZe, and of course, just reminiscent on this past season, because this season has been one of the better seasons in past or recent history, I would say. But guys, I sure hope you did enjoy. Subscribe to the Bailey Up Sports YouTube page. Subscribe to MorganMan Sports, ladies and gentlemen, and keep following me, especially this week, because this Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern, I will be releasing my newest podcast episode, and I will reveal the winner for Call of Duty Black Ops 7. So, again, thank you so much. Thank you to Belly Up Sports, and thank you to Kelsey for managing this live stream for me right here. This is my first one right here. So, hopefully, I've done well for you guys. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful Sunday, and I will catch you this Friday on MorganMan Sports at 6 a.m. Eastern. Have a good one.